Okay, I think we're recording, we're live.
Okay.
So welcome everyone to our show, Afro Descendants. This is a show about helping and bringing Afro diasporans closer to the motherland. And today on the show, we have the lovely Germain. I've known Germain for a long time. We went to university together 20 plus years ago.
20
Sorry,
plus,
I
that's
don't want
right.
to tell people your age, but
Yeah, let's not reveal it.
and Javed is good people. I've known her quite a long time, and I'll let her introduce herself and tell you where she's from, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
Okay, so my name is, as Peter said, my name is Germain Dolcy. I am from St Lucia, an island in the Caribbean, 248 square miles, and it's found between Martinique and St Vincent. I'm from a village along the east coast. It's called Miku. One of my, I love my village beyond everything else.
Mm,
Somebody would say nothing really happens there, but being somebody who's grown up in Miku, one of the things I appreciate the most is the safe feel of the place, the
mm,
community spirit, the vibes. We felt comfortable, and not only that, it's a case where everyone looked out for each other,
mm-hmm.
and you were brought up by your parents, yes, but it was also the idea that a whole village raises a child,
Mm.
and I
When
thought
you
in
say
my era that's how it like.
when
Hmm.
you say village, how can you elaborate that for people? What do you mean? Because in Africa, village might be totally different from a village in the Caribbean in terms of, you know what I mean, structure, who lives in the village, how many people live in a village, stuff like that.
Okay, so when I say a village, we're saying that, well, it's not a place where you have many businesses. You don't really have these big businesses. You don't have government offices or any of those kinds of things with regards to St. Lucia itself. We mainly do fishing or farming. So that was the main things that happened in our village. We had one secondary school, one
Okay.
primary school, one infant school, and at the time when I was around, I believe it was two nurseries.
Wow.
So yeah, exactly. So so that's why it's the actual Miku village itself. That's what it was. But not only that, we're also part of a district. So in the electoral district, which is also Miku,
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot of people coming from the outskirts, like the countryside areas, proper countryside, coming down into the village for school. So that's how serious it was. It's quite small. It's a small village, but at the same time, the land or the district is very huge. We have on the inside section where it's very mountainous and
Mm-hmm.
it's farmland, and then you have the little section where it's coastal. Now, to be able to say how many people in our village, mm,
And
I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't be able to say too much, but I could tell you that practically everyone knew each other.
wow. And what was the
That
makeup? What was the makeup of the village? Was it black people? Was it mixture? Was there some white people?
Mhm. So with our village, it was black, and we had our own Indians, our native Indians, or people from Indian descent. So you probably
Mm,
have a mix of those ones, especially towards the countryside area. We have those. Yeah, we do have proper Indians itself in that section. So we don't. If we had any kind of white people, not really. We'll probably have a few visitors coming in.
mm-hmm.
I know at some point in time we used to have the VSO, which is the voluntary service from America. We had one or two white people coming to stay in the village for a period in time, taught us first aid and stuff like that. So they would come in just to visit. But we didn't really have white people in our village. We mainly had mixes of Indians, and one of the key things we in St. Lucia itself, we have very light skinned people, very light. And if you look at them, you would probably think, oh, they're either white or mixed. We had very
Mm-hmm.
light skinned people, and we call them shabin.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of shabin people in our village. We had quite a bit of shabin people, but St. Lucia is known for that. We have a lot of shabin.
What would they be?
Light
Would they
people.
would there be a mixture of Indian and black, or why are they so light?
So they could just be black. Now, the idea is probably from our ancestry, because we're from, before we had all the slavery itself, we also had our own native Indians, which are Caribs and the
Mm,
Arawaks.
mm-hmm.
Our St Lucia was mainly supposed to be towards because it's a small island, you probably get a few of the Caribs or those kind of tribes, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And they were supposed to have been a little bit lighter skin in complexion.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that some of that influence came from around that side.
Ah,
So
okay.
mhm. So places where like on the west coast you have Swazel, you have Sufria, you have Labri, and in the center parts you a lot of light skinned people are there. You'll find a lot of them in that section.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And then growing up in the village, right? When did you become, or did you ever become self-aware about um, your color and your background, your heritage? Was that ever an issue? Was that anything you ever thought about?
Being in the village, I never really considered it, to be honest with you. For us, no, I think for one of the things that we were just always in or appreciation for, I should say, in appreciation for, was for just visitors generally.
Mm,
So if we had a visitor coming from overseas or somewhere or from somewhere else, anywhere, it's like we welcome them and you want to get to know them. That was
mm,
general for us.
mhm,
With regards to probably light skin or white people, I'm not sure when did I become aware of it. I think we were always aware of it, but we never put too much stock
mm,
in thinking they're greater than anyone else. I don't
mhm,
think we ever put any much stock in that aspect itself.
mm,
But I mean, you speak about somebody, you say, "Oh, light skin, you have dark skin, you talk about, okay, red. We sometimes red skin, although
mhm,
that's more common to Trinidad, where you say reds in Trinidad itself. But we'll probably say the shabbing person over there, or that kind of thing. But for us, I never really was too much aware. I think where my awareness really got to a bit of an extreme is when I moved across to the capital.
mm,
So when I got to my secondary school, primary school, secondary, I went across to the capital, and then up on that side you have a more, I would say, an abundance of white people.
mm.
I say abundance. You probably thinking it like thousands, but I mean, it's just like, oh, there are quite a few
There's
up on
quite a
this
number
side.
of people, yeah.
Yeah. You get a few more up on that side as opposed to in the village where you probably get one person just visiting. So we had quite a few, but you have those who were actually locals who were born and bred in St. Lucia. And I met
Mm,
those ones, met those kinds of people, went to school with them. And it was kind of like an eye opener because most of these guys seem to hang out with each other. They knew each other,
mm,
so it's like there was a bit of a slight click
mm,
in our little St. Lucian community.
mm.
But to think that all these things affected me, I wouldn't really say so. I
Okay.
wouldn't necessarily would say so for me. Yeah.
Because as an African, being born and bred in Kenya, I was always around Black people. So there was never that self-awareness of, this guy is different. Although there were a few white people. I had a couple of white friends, right, growing up, but it was not. It's not as like, let's say, England, right?
Mm,
That there's that
blatant.
barrier. You can feel it, like, you walk into a room and you feel uncomfortable.
That's it.
So you
Hmm.
never had anything like that in solution. Nothing like that ever happened to
No, didn't feel that way at all. Never felt uncomfortable. I think the idea is, I believe it is because for me, it's my own country.
you. Mm,
So I know no matter what, that this is where I belong.
mm-hmm.
And I just feel as if for me it was, I never felt uncomfortable, because if I felt uncomfortable in my own country, then where else would I be able to survive?
True.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But in regards to them, never felt uncomfortable around them, didn't feel intimidated, nothing whatsoever. And you know in St. We didn't, they didn't treat us any differently. You
Mm,
know, we talk to
mm,
everyone. We hang out with every single person. We had groups of us. We have
mhm,
mixtures of friends, different kinds of backgrounds. Indians. We had some of the Indians coming in also, coming to
mhm.
our school. We had Indians. We had whites. We had a lot. So it was more, and that's what I will continue to say about St. Lucia. It's just continuing to have that community feel. There's never a barrier. There was no
Okay.
barrier.
All right. Wow.
As you mentioned, like in England, whereas when you go in England, it's like without seeing it, you feel it. It
I'll,
is
I'll,
there.
I'll get to good old Blighty, in a moment. And then, like, so you did your secondary, and then I know you taught for a while.
Yes, I did. I did my secondary. I did my college also, and then directly afterwards, I got a teaching job in down in the south. So in the south is the town, not the capital. The capital is in the north, but
Mm-hmm,
it's called Viefo. So I went down on that side. I taught for 2 years.
mm-hmm.
And some way, somehow, last minute, I got an opportunity to go and study in the UK, and I just jumped on it. I just jumped on it. What can I say? Oh, yeah, and that's basically is it. So I could tell you about me in St. Lucia. Now, I will say to you, now, I know you mentioned to me about, thinking about, well, when did I know you mentioned about Africa and stuff like that. And I will tell you about Africa and how we perceived it because I did history. At
Mm-hmm.
college, I did history at secondary school. And I think somewhere in there, when you speak to certain people in St. Lucia, they have the mentality and that we were sold into slavery by our own people. This is the general idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the general.
Is that where because I know I've experienced it as well, especially from Jamaicans. They
Yes,
have like, let me not say, they have, I'm trying to be politically correct, right? They have anger towards Africans. I've experienced it. I've felt it. It's been directed at me sometimes. And I'm like, why are these people so basically pissed off with Africans? So maybe it's that mentality that you're saying, that we, the Africans who are here, sold them into slavery. Could it be that?
I believe it is because again, and I will say it because as you mentioned Jamaica and I mentioned St. Lucia because at the time, I may have visited other islands, the place where I actually had conversations with people about why they hate Africa was because the idea that we were sold into slavery. We
Mm,
were sold into slavery. They betrayed us basically
mm,
and they sent us across to the Caribbean islands, sold us for whatever reason. And this is a prevalent, and I realized when I actually traveled out of the Caribbean, I realized a lot of people think that way. It's not just, I thought it was just a few St. Lucians, but it's not just St. Lucians, it's like every single word. But for me, I have identified with the fact that, listen, yeah, I'm a St. Lucian and I am proud. I even go so far as to say I'm a Mikudian. I am proud. Mikudian from that village. I am
mm,
proud, beyond proud of where I come from. But I've always had this hunger and a desire for me to actually know where my roots are. And I
mm.
know there's no doubt that I have African ancestry. And I have always wanted to go on, and I have always believed this is part of my home. This is what is Africa has been calling to me
Mhm.
for a very long time, for the time I've been a child. Okay, when I say child, I mean I'm looking at, let's say, 13, 14, around those ages, not
Mm,
like 3-year old or 5-year old or yeah. So
mm.
but
Okay, wait. Hold your horses, hold your horses. So now you get your chance to go and study in the UK, right?
hmm
That's now when we all hooked up and met up and
yes.
uh was that the first time you hang out with other Caribbeans? Because I know there was that, you know, back in college, right? There was a grouping of Caribbeans where some Caribbeans would hang out exclusively with others and not, you know, you know what I mean.
Yes.
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 So,
Um No, because I used to, as I said, I've traveled through the Caribbean itself, and I've gone to things like camp at St. Vincent. I met other Caribbean people who traveled across it from different islands. So I have met other Caribbean people. Before that bit of
Mm,
travel, I've gone across to Canada. I've met other Caribbean people, different backgrounds. America. I used to travel quite a bit before that. When I came across the UK, what I had not really met is anyone from Africa as yet.
mm,
And that's what I had not really met anybody from Africa. And for me, I loved it. Getting to know the different places that people are from. I remember our very popular, Nigerian guy. I don't mention his name, you know. Getting to know him, seeing the determination and stuff. And I kind of developed a few things with regards to uh, trying to wonder why certain things apply, why there is such a stereotype attached to different types of countries.
mm,
Okay, whether it's a Nigerian, whether it's a Ghanaian, whether the Jamaican, etc. I try to understand for me. So I was quite pleased to get to know so many different people. And then in regards to understanding the stereotype, I thought to myself, the only place you can get to know why these people are considered, like probably the Nigerians are spoken about so in such a derogatory manner, is by going to the
mm,
country and getting to
mm,
know exactly where is this stemming from.
mm.
You understand? And that's where one of the first desires I had for actually getting to go to Africa. And not only that, I met you guys Kenyans. I met my Gambians. I met Zimbabweans. I met from all over. I met I didn't really meet too many Ghanaians, but I know the Mauritians and all. Met a
Mm,
whole
mm,
collection. And it was an eye opener. It
mm.
was an
And then
eye.
how did you see, did you look at yourself as, when did you start feeling African? Because I know at some point it must have like slapped you in the face, and that's when, this desire to travel to Africa, that's when it's hit you, right? But when did you start feeling like, okay, when you looked at me, did you see me in you?
I saw when I looked at you, I saw a comfort.
Mm-hmm.
When you say comfort, it's like you recognize like that. Does that make sense? So you recognize somebody who is similar to you in every
Mm.
aspect, but the only difference is that you're from a different country,
Ah.
you're different cultural backgrounds, but quite same principles
Mm.
of how you were brought up. That's what I admired. And when I as I was there, I realized, wait, from all the different countries, there seems to be something instilled in all of us that we know who we are strong, and we are brought up with decency and with values.
Yes,
These
true.
are the things that have always stood out. Whenever I've gone around and I've met people, these are the things that have always stood out for me. People who know who they are, they know where they came from, they know. No one can tell them, oh, I'm not sure, or where you're from, or you are this, or one day they'll tell you you are this, or another day they could tell you you are that, and you go ahead and you start floating, left, right, swaying left,
Mm.
right, and center with whatever somebody perceives you to be. I always just thought that when I met people, and met a lot of the Africans from different countries, that they knew who they were. And that
It's
was
like, for example, like in St. Lucia, it's the culture that, because what you guys have been brought up in is African culture.
Mhm.
Although it was probably not named African culture, but it was passed on from generation to generation. So the way you behave is like, let me give you an example. 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago, yeah, I was in Colombia, and I traveled quite a bit, but at one point I was in Medellin,
Mm.
and I came across a black guy who looked, Africans have distinct features. So you can
Yeah.
tell West Africans, the
Mm.
difference between, just by seeing you, just by looking at someone, you can tell, oh, this is West African background, this is
Mm.
East African, this is Southern African. So I came across these guys who looked East African. right? And then we became friends. And then this guy invited me over he was having a Christmas cookout. So it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. This guy had like a pub somewhere
Yeah.
in town in the town of Medellin, some part I can't remember the name, some district. And then this guy goes on the road. He sealed off part of the road, and then he went. I don't even know where the guy got firewood from. So he got three stones. He put three stones, like
Ah,
four for
yes.
hot, and then we cut the firewood and he made a fire and he was throwing in like what we normally eat here. So there was corn inside, there was
Mm-hmm.
some different kind of meats. And then I was intrigued. I asked the guy, "How did you learn how to do this?" He's like, "My grandfather used to do this. I don't know why. I guess his grandfather taught him how to do this, so I was taught how to." The guy he, he doesn't understand that's how Africans live. He has not
Mm-hmm.
been able to link that to the fact that he's African.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
tried to explain to him. I told this guy, if you just came to Kenya, everyone will think you're Kenyan. It's only when you talk that you speak Spanish. Everyone will be like, the stop and look back, like, is this guy talking Spanish? But he looks completely Kenyan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like in your case, when did you actually link who you are and how you've been brought up with Africa?
Mm. That's a pretty good point. Um, I will say, when I think my dad kept he would keep speaking to us about the fact that we have an aunt
Mm-hmm.
who is it an aunt or yeah, it's an aunt who is married to a chief in it
Chief.
was a chief, yeah, yes, he kept saying it, and it
A real
was
chief or Nigerian Oga chief?
oh, not even Nigerian. It's actually in it's funny that you should say that. It's Ghana. So it's
Ah,
from the Ashanti. My dad always used to mention that, and he believes that part of our descent is from over on that side. I remember my dad. It wasn't a proper aunt. It was like a great grand or something like that. He always
mm,
used to mention that. But as you even mentioned that, the other thing you had asked me is when did I actually have that desire to go to Africa? And I remember when I was younger, I wrote a poem again in my teens. What
mm-hmm,
was 1992, 1991, 1992? I remember that. And it was just saying, take me to the motherland. Take
mm,
me to the motherland. Because I can hear it calling my name. I could hear the drums.
mm,
I want to see the hills. I want to see the mountains. I want to see my land. I want to see my place. All these kinds of stuff. I've had that hunger from the time I've been a child. And for me, the pull was there, but the pull to be the for it to actually become a realization, I was quite pleased with the people I met. Then I
mm-hmm.
knew as I go along, because my friend from Nigeria, I remember she invited me once. She invited me for a while, and one time I said, you know what, I'm just buying a ticket. So at the beginning of a year, I just bought the ticket. I don't know how I was gonna travel. I don't know where I was gonna stay.
weren't you
I
were
don't.
you scared? Because like going to Africa and then
No,
you know,
I wasn't afraid. That
no,
if
you
there's
weren't
one thing
afraid.
I'm not afraid of, not from
Mm-hmm,
Africa. It's one of the places I have never been afraid of actually going. I just like I want to go because the call is there.
mm-hmm.
The call is there. I need to go. So I just bought the ticket. I'm like, if I meet somebody there, I don't know who's, I bought it to go to Nigeria. I remember that. I was just like, well, you know. So when I said to somebody, I'm going there, I'm Nigerians, I said to them, listen, I'm going to Nigeria for, they said, what for? I said, I'm going for holidays. So holidays?
Mm.
That's a bit different. Do you have a
I
family?
know.
They asked me all kinds of questions. Do you have family there? I'm like, no. They look at me very puzzled. I'm like, I know someone there, so but I'll see how it goes. And eventually I stayed with my friend. I
Mm-hmm.
did ask her, and she, I stayed with her family, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved getting to know, they always say that, Nigerians are very good. Is it 411 frauds and stuff like
It's
that?
all about, yeah, when you think, well, that's an image that's been put out there.
It's been put out there. It's been put out there. It's so erroneous. It's been put out there saying that every Nigerian you meet, if there's one thing they will be doing, is this. And you know what? It's the most disgusting thing ever. I mean, I'm saying it personally, but because when you get to know the people out there,
Mm.
they are so nice.
You
They
see,
don't have, but they are nice.
you see, it's that's that's what has been done to Africa. It's been packaged as this place where, people are hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just wars and corruption, and nothing good can come out of Africa. But that's rubbish. As you've traveled as well, you've been to Africa a couple of times.
Yes.
You've seen for
Mm-hmm.
yourself the development. I mean, in parts of Africa, people even live better than the West, you know?
Yeah. I went to my friend's house and I was just like, oh, okay. Okay, because trust me, I mean, the house I went into was like a very palatial. I was just like, wow.
Mm.
No, because my house is not like that. It's a nice little modest house. Where I went, I felt, there were servants, everything. There were housemaids. There's people doing this. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Yeah, it's sorry, it's just
I know,
no,
I know it.
it's erroneous. It's really, really bad. The way it's been portrayed has not been a very good thing. I mean, again, you see all these advertisements. It's show we saw all these advertisements. You have the child who is very, very sick, who has the flies on the face and so on.
Mm.
And I'm just like, this is not what you're gonna be doing. If you have found somebody who looks like this, you don't exploit them and put them in a video. You go ahead and you sort that out. You feed them. You make sure that they're nice, they're healthy, etc. You move on from it. You don't use that
It's
as a tool.
it's there's a whole economic system
Hmm.
that flows around poverty in Africa. There's a whole NGO movement where people get money. We'll talk about, it's a messy subject. Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. But
Yes. Mm.
there's a reason why they propagate that, uh, that kind of look for Africa, the hunger look, because then that way they can raise funds from donors out there and sustain
Mm.
a whole economic ecosystem. All right. So now you're Africa. First time you went there. Any brothers hit up on you? Like you talk and then everyone, people like new, they like they're intrigued, especially Africans. They're intrigued by foreign people.
Mm, mm.
They want to get to know you. There's guys who like, how was that side of things?
Yeah, I remember going out with my friend. I remember going out with my friend. We met her brother and I think some of his friends there and stuff. And we went to a club. Now
Mhm.
they start their clubs late. I mean, I was shocked because coming from the UK where clubs close like about two,
Oh
four
yeah,
o'clock.
yeah. Africa, people go to the club at 1, 2 in the
Thank you.
afternoon. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm like, what? I'm like, we're getting ready to go to the club at this time.
yeah.
So I remember, I remember the first time I went, and I met this guy. The guy, I remember his name. Oh yeah, his name was Tony. He chats and stuff. He gave me his number, and I'm just curious. Just to get to know people. Before I know it, I'm like, oh, this guy is on a different level. I
Mm.
don't know what he's expecting, what ideas. All I'm just doing, because me, I'm quite an outgoing person. I just make friends. As long
Mm.
as I just want to get to know people. I I remember my cousin, my friend was saying to me, her brother was saying, "Ah, this girl, be careful, German. Be careful
Mm.
because the idea." Then later he said to me that when you go in a club, these people they believe that you're out for you to have a good time.
Mm.
you know, so they'll
mm,
probably take you home at night. I'm like, no,
mm,
this is definitely not for me. But
mm,
yeah, this guy, when I met him, you know, he was chatting back and forth. Then I realized, listen, there's something not to right here.
mhm.
This is not any kind of basic, yeah, you know, we could chat here and there, like, you know, basic friendship. And at the same time, my boy is married. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay.
Uh-huh.
First, all I thought was, I'm not interested. One, I'm just saying this is friendship. And then the next thing, you already hitting on, and then you telling me, no, you didn't tell me. I found out that you married. I'm like, I don't know how I found out. I can't remember. But I'm like, uh, uh, this
You
is not
see,
for me.
the thing is this, in Africa, although uh, things are getting modern,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always been a polygamous environment.
Right, right.
Just that now things, the Western influence and, having one partner, being in love with one person, that whole spiel. But it's always
Mm.
been like people having two, three wives, right? So
Jeez.
maybe that is something which for you, I'm sure must have been, is shocking, right?
It was a bit surprising. I was quite shocked by it, actually. I was shocked by it. But yeah, I was, you know, especially that one experience. But I had that other experience before with our friend at university, and he was married too. And I just could
Mm,
not understand.
mm,
I found that very hard to understand. So it's just, you know, don't we understand? Yeah, you married. Respect whoever it is that you
mm,
married.
But if you look at, you look at, for example, Zuma, I think he's got five wives and he keeps getting married there's one guy from Swaziland. I think he's got, I think there are 14 or 15 wives.
That's a lot.
That's how, I know,
Yeah,
that's
for
a,
me,
one is a problem, but
that's a lot. For me, that just seems like a lot. I mean, I don't know. You're only one human being. Why do you need to claim 14?
mm, it's
That's
just, I
my
guess
thought.
it comes down because when you look at how culture used to, it's because of the health situation back then. A
Mm.
man would get many wives and procreate because the mortality rate was high, you know.
Aha. Okay.
So
Okay.
then people would have many wives and then have many kids with the idea that some of them are going to die at some point. So, but then the ones who die, that there'll be others left who will not die. So that was the whole idea behind the cultural idea behind it. It was a survival tactic.
Mm. Okay.
So
Okay.
I
I
guess
mean, I get that.
it's stuck over the years. But
You know, I mean, I get that. I guess what they needed to have done was actually, as the years went by, just educate the children as to why that was the case,
mm, yeah,
so
yeah.
that somewhere as they moved on,
Yep, yep,
it dropped off.
exactly, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that was my experience in Nigeria. I loved it. I
Hmm.
loved it. I've been there about 3 times. I think
Wow.
the last time was it 2018?
You need to come to Kenya.
February.
I mean,
I
seems like
know,
you're
I
biased.
know.
I sense some bias here.
No, I know, no, don't say that, don't say that. I will come to Kenya. No, go to, I will. There is no question about it. I will. I just need to organize that one.
Mm.
I really need to organize it because it's like if I go to Kenya, I know it's quite big.
Mm.
I'm thinking where,
There's people on all ends. You have Byron on this other side who would be
yes,
glad to hang out with you and host you. You have me
yeah.
on this side, you have Yamato, you have, everyone's everywhere. So
Yeah, I
you
do
are
want to.
very welcome. I've told you a couple number of times, but
Many
you
times.
are welcome. You
You
are
guys have
welcome.
told me many times, many
Mm,
times. I will definitely come to Kenya. I am looking into it. Not maybe not this year,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm
There's a
keeping it as
whole
a potential.
somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I'm keeping it as a
Definitely.
potential for the next 2 years.
All right. And then so
I'm
now
doing Ghana again.
so you did Nigeria, you've done Ghana, right? When did
I've,
you foray into Ghana?
My foray into Ghana, I think the first time was in 2018. That one was a bit of a strange one. But before I actually went to Ghana, I will tell you that I went to Gambia.
Oh, you've been to Gambia as well?
I've been to Gambia.
Wow.
So yes, I went to Gambia in 2000 and was it 15? I think it was. You know, I think there was some deals to go to Gambia, and I thought, okay, well, why not? And then some friends of mine, yeah, another friend of mine from work, you know, she decided, okay, well, we're gonna do this together, and we went. And it was a very nice experience. I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it. I mean, I got a different viewpoint, and again, I always speak to my Nigerian friends, and I was telling them about my experience and stuff, and they couldn't tell me what Ghana is known, what Gambia was known for, or the
Mm.
perception that applies. Because I was speaking to I was speaking to my friend, and he was saying to me, yeah, this is what Gambia um has been shown to
Yes.
be popular for. You know,
Sex
young.
tourism, right?
Mm-hmm. It's tourism, and young males being taken out, by all the sugar moms, the sugar daddies. It's just, it was just saying that because I was surprised. I was just like, wow,
Mm.
seeing it play in front of me. But in Gambia, I remember one of the things that we had was that there were people who kind of attached themselves to you
Mm-hmm.
in the sense almost like bodyguards.
Mm-hmm.
So they would attach themselves just to keep you. They said they always kept saying to us, "No, it's safe, it's safe." But at the same time, they would be saying to us, "Hold your bag in front of you, or do this, or
Mm.
whatever." Just
Mm.
different things. But then you had these people who just attach themselves to you like bodyguards, and they're there for you if you need anything. You just meet them, and then that's it.
Mm.
So that was our experience in Gambia. Really good people down on that side. So we enjoyed it, Gambia. And Ghana. Let's talk about Ghana. Ghana is a hot one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
You've been there a
dream.
couple of times, right? How many times
Uh,
have you been to Gambia?
three
Okay.
to Ghana 3 times.
Mm-hmm. So
So
been
the
to
last time
Gambia.
I came back,
Mhm.
yeah, I came back in November last year. So
Yeah, I
November
remember
20th,
you
went,
told me. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I'm planning to go back this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So Ghana, I had a dream that I needed to go to Ghana with my dad. I remember it was in 2016 with my dad and my sister Charmin. So the three of us, I dreamt that we had to go. We just needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
There was a huge pool. So I started kind of planning the trip 2016. I thought to myself, you know what, this is gonna happen. And then I came across to the States. My sister and my dad were here, and when I came, I realized my dad was not able to travel. He was not well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of like put it on hold, and, I was just praying, hoping that he would get better, because I feel as if this is something we need to do. We need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, he passed away the following in January in 2017. And when that happened, I thought, you know what? I still need to go.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go. I had the dream. My eldest brother had the dream, and I said I needed to go. The two of us had a dream that we need to get to Ghana. And I just decided I'm buying a ticket and I'm going. And that's how it happened.
One quick question.
Yeah.
Have you ever done an ancestry test?
I have not. And I have thought about it a lot. And the reason why I thought about it only after I traveled to Ghana.
Mm.
And the reason I actually have not done it is because when I went that poll to go to Ghana, and it's such a story, because that same year when I traveled in 2018, I went to Ghana twice within the space of two is it 2 months, a month and a half.
Wow.
Yes, and I'll tell you,
I
there's
can't
such
wait
a
to hear
story with
why.
that. There was such a story with that, because I remember I went because there were places I wanted to see. And there was just one specific place within the 2 weeks that I desperately felt I needed to get to, and that
Mm-hmm.
was in Kumasi. I remember that, and all how I tried to get to Kumasi on that first trip, it was not happening, and I had to travel back. But you know what? I felt incomplete.
Mhm.
Felt incomplete. So I'm like, I cannot, because this is one of the places that I needed to. I need to feel that I have done it. And like I planned the trip, and then we didn't. So I came back April. By about May, I think end of May, I was back. I was back in Ghana. I
Wow.
was back in Ghana. I had to do Kumasi. When I went there, I felt at home in
That's
Kumasi.
why you need to do that test. Maybe it's a pull,
Hmm.
energetic pull.
Yeah. I felt at home. I felt this was it. I felt at peace. I felt a comfort. And not only that, it helped me. I felt that it helped me deal with the fact that my father had passed, because I still
Mm,
did not, I still couldn't comprehend. But after that, I felt so much better.
mm,
And that's why Ghana definitely has got, I feel as if most of our ancestry, because of that deep pull for there,
mm.
I feel as if my ancestry may have come from this. And that's when I started thinking maybe I should do that test.
Yeah, because most of the um, slaves who were sent to the Americas,
Hmm.
they left from West Africa.
Yes.
The ones who left from East Africa, they all most of them ended up in the Middle East,
Hmm.
Yemen, and that side of the world. But
Hmm.
most of the slaves who lived on the western side of Africa,
Yeah.
most of them settled in Brazil,
Hmm.
parts of the Caribbean, and then a number of them in America, in North America,
North America,
few in
yes.
Canada. Yeah,
Hmm.
so you should. I think you should. I strongly advise you to take that test. There's a friend of ours here.
Yeah.
He is from the States. He's born and brought up in, I think, Brooklyn.
Right.
He's moved to Kenya because something. This guy just ended up coming to Kenya. He came on holiday and he stayed.
Mm.
He
Mm.
loves it here. He now speaks. We're trying to
He's at
teach him
home.
Swahili. you know.
Mm.
And then I was telling him, he needs to have that ancestry test done because there's a reason. He says he's been to other parts of Africa, but for some reason, he just
Mm.
feels at home here.
Yeah.
So
It
maybe
makes a difference.
next time we do an interview, I'll rope him in and you guys can, you know, exchange notes.
With regards to that. Yes, and by then maybe I'll have the ancestry test done
You should, and then reveal it on the show.
and then reveal it. Exactly. I really think I should, Peter. I'm telling you, I have been thinking about it.
Do
So
it.
yeah, it is. It is why I've gone to Ghana. Definitely why I've gone to Ghana. Yeah, I feel as if this is where I am actually from. But
Mm.
I've had I love Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I love Nigeria, definitely, and I love the people. Love them.
And then
It
when you're
really.
in West Africa,
Mm-hmm.
did you see things that were gave you deja vu about the Caribbean? Like
Oh yeah.
maybe sometimes you walk into a place and you're like, this feels just like, the music and maybe the cooking or something, it reminds you of sometime in the past or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So when I actually went to Africa the first time, the first thing that I said, I came and I'm like, yeah, I am amongst my own. That's all.
Mm,
You just felt it. Everywhere you see people who look like you, who acts like you. The country looks like your own country. You feel as if this is like, yeah, you've taken a plane, but like you're in St Lucia.
mm,
You understand?
mm,
The way that they actually build the buildings, same way in St Lucia. The
mm.
furnitures, some of the stools and stuff, we have those kinds of concepts in St Lucia. A lot of it is very, very similar.
Wow.
A lot of it, yeah, a lot of it is very similar. So when I got there, I felt like I was home.
Mm,
We have the clay. You have in some places where you have the clay roads and stuff. We have that in St. Lucia. When we go to the country, we have the clay. We have all these things. You understand?
mm,
So it feels as if I am actually, basically, I'm at home.
mm,
So this is what it is. Everything about Africa just reminded me of home. So you feel a comfort. And then when you speak to the people, they're welcoming. They are welcoming. It doesn't really matter where you're from, etc. I found that they were very welcoming. No one had any kind of restrictions or any kind of reservations with regards to speaking to you, and always laughing. And it was really, really, I felt comfortable, and I felt that I had reached somewhere where I was appreciated.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
a very nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because we've been to a number of places and we've not been appreciated.
Yes. Oh yeah, I can tell you.
And you're made, and they make sure they know that that
You know, they don't know how to show it any other way. They just have to let you know you're not appreciated, regardless of how good you are, how much knowledge you have, no matter how much that you can progress, your capabilities, your potential, you're not appreciated. You understand?
Exactly.
But that's not going to keep us down, because again, we know who we are.
True.
And that's it.
Very true. Wow, I can see the clock is just ticking away. Let's see. Let me see what I want to ask you something controversial.
Oh gosh, Peter, you're not going to put me in that position now.
No, you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer. You could be like, I'll answer that next time. So, would you ever first get married to an African dude? And then 2, would he be accepted in St. Lucia?
Okay, so I would say I'm open to it. That's for sure. And yeah, he'll be accepted in St. Lucia. No problem. We've moved quite a lot over the years, over the past 20 something years. I'm not gonna go too far. We've moved so much that we've got across in St. Lucia. We've had a lot of Africans from different countries coming down, staying, living, making their life there. So there is greater exposure in the Caribbean. Okay, there is a greater widening of the mind. The prejudice mind that used to be, because I'm not gonna lie, there was a prejudice. The prejudice mind that used to exist, basically has been minimized. You understand? Because we've gotten much more exposure. You've met different types of people. They will come in. You don't have to go out all the time. Although it's much better to go out to experience them, people in their own environment. But they've been coming to ours, so you get to know them as individuals. And people have been more exposed. So yeah, very much should be accepted. There's no question about it.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll accept us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. We've been to Africa. You know how we roll in Africa.
Yeah. So no, yeah. Yeah. That, if that was a controversial question, okay. All right, good.
Yeah, that was it. For now.
That was
it.
For now.
Back on the show. Definitely.
You're gonna have to behave yourself, Peter.
Madam Germain, it's been a pleasure. I see that's almost our hour is almost up.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure having you. Definitely we'll have you back.
Thank you.
And on a more ongoing basis to talk about to give us your views about certain things. We'll have your take.
Yes.
I talked to Anita.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was telling her I'd like her to also come in and give us the Indian Caribbean side of stuff, because I know that one is a bit
It's a bit of a different one. That one is
so,
yeah, they've got a different unique position.
Exactly. So hopefully we see bigger things coming on for the year.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll build up to the day you will come. The day you come to Kenya.
That's it.
We'll slowly build the show to that day.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, though, Peter, for actually considering me. I really appreciate that, though.
You're very welcome.
I've enjoyed it.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
All right.
I want to say goodbye, and goodbye to all the viewers. All right.
Adios.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
See you guys on the next show. Bye.
Bye.